What's happening, Rusty?
Busy. How are you?
Man, I'm good. I know you're so dang busy in the spring, but isn't it fun? Like you can probably still sort of answer some emails and watch this and
Oh yeah, I go nuts with what people call free time, so I love it.
yeah. I'm a they say there's no such thing as what's it called, dual processing, dual tasking. I'm not multitasking.
Multitasking, yeah.
I swear I can do it a little. Uh, well, thanks for everybody that's on here so far. Thanks for joining me. I am going to present this Friday at the University of Missouri and thought I could bring some value to the mastermind and fast and wide. And you, even more importantly, you guys tell me where it could be better. Rocky, thanks for being on here, man.
Thanks for having me.
Y'all, you guys, Rocky helped me do this. I guess it was about a week ago, wasn't it, Rocky?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And so Brian Kane told me this. Always put a number in front of something because people will remember it. And so, like on my book, he said, make it 7 lessons learned. And it just kind of like, works in your brain that way. So I counted up what I had. And so instead of Tactics for Toughness, 30 Tactics for Toughness, according to Brian Kane, is more powerful. I don't know what you guys think. If y'all think that's, but probably sounds more impressive, maybe. I want y'all to know I just worked out not too long ago. So I'm sweaty, but I did spray with Body Axe spray. So y'all won't have to smell me. And I got it out of one of the lockers of your players.
We appreciate that.
Okay, so I'm going to set a timer here in a second because I'm pretty concerned about whether I'm going to be able to get through this in 55 minutes or not, which is the time that I have Friday. Coach Fabian, good to see you. Coach Scott in Wisconsin, did y'all have a blizzard up there, Rob? You did. Hey, it was 80 here yesterday. I almost got sunburned. Coach Agresta, yes, sir. It's good to see you, buddy. I want you to know something. I was in Coco's playroom yesterday, and her playroom was a mess. But one thing I did see on the floor of the playroom was the book that you sent us about Roger. So pretty cool. Coach Perry, good to see you, buddy. Thanks for being here. So guys, I'm going to get started. Here's what I want. I want to bring value. I hope I give you some ideas, but this is also a selfish thing that I'm going to stop maybe like halfway through this. In fact, I'm going to set my deal for 25 minutes. And so I'm going to stop. Let's say I'm going to stop at 25, and I want you guys to debrief with me. Okay, so I got a couple of movie clips in. If you have one better, Like here, you'll make my day if you can improve this. Okay, so here I go. So I'm at the University of Missouri Friday night. So I called Rick Jones and said, who is the toughest player in the University of Missouri history? Because I want to serve. If you're going to go speak somewhere, you ought to want to serve them. And so there'll be, 100 and whatever, 150 coaches there, and some will be Missouri graduates. And so he asked around and found out that Justin Smith is the toughest guy. That's the name that was given to me. He played early 2000s and then for the 49ers. So we're going to talk toughness today because toughness is something that will always be a part of football. And all of y'all are here because you want to get the edge. And so if you're at a clinic, if you're on a Zoom, you should be hoping you're going to get the edge somehow. And so we talk a lot about, I think the mastermind, every session is to help you get the edge. Intentional culture gives you the edge. But I don't think the next play is going to give you the edge. I don't think that, when I learned how to go fast in 2008, I was told to enjoy it for about 5 years because it won't be as big an edge in 5 years. And it's correct. Like so how can you get an edge in 2023? One way you can get an edge in 2023 is to emphasize toughness with your group. And so Justin Smith, here's what I was told. Justin Smith spoke to the team at Missouri about a year ago. And this is what Rick Jones told me. He said, he went in there, he said, hey, I didn't come here to make friends. It didn't matter if I was going against a fourth teamer or a first teamer. I was going to give them my same effort. And that effort was to destroy that person in front of me. I didn't care if anybody liked me. I was going to do what I was going to do. So if you have a bunch of Justin Smiths on your team, you're probably in good shape. But most of y'all don't. Most of you have kids that live in a virtual world. I mean, Rick told me that when Justin Smith got done speaking, he didn't hang around. He spoke to the Missouri football team. He left, got in his truck, and drove away. Well, those guys aren't, there's not too many of those guys out there, right? Our guys live in a virtual world. Post-COVID, it's even worse. And you don't get tough in a virtual world. So I'm going to talk to you about how to get the edge today by being tough. So let's talk about toughness real fast. I can't get to 30 things if I talk about this stuff very long, but you can measure toughness. And there's two ways you can measure physical toughness. And one is a tensile test. And a tensile test is where you take something and you stretch it. So some of these drills today are going to be to stretch your players. So a tensile test, you can measure how far something can be tested, how it can be stretched to endure hardship or pain. Okay, so there's one other way you can measure toughness.
Don't worry about it.
You can take your players to a batting cage and do this.
Oh, yeah, bring that shit on, man. Oh, God, I love it. Oh, God, that hurt a little, but I'm all right. Oh, God, son, what the hell are you doing? 364 more days till next year's hockey tryouts. I got a tough time. Yeah!
So it's up to you. All right, so physical toughness. Physical toughness is what can you withstand? Okay, physically, before you stretch. Mental toughness, this is my definition, and I've used it for years. I'm sure I stole it from someone. Is how quickly you can get over a mistake. And this guy right here was the one who was in the Super Bowl, was offsides on 4th and 2 down in the red zone. And I have no idea how he, I can remember 95, they're really good D linemen fussing at him on the bench, but that's one of those things like can ruin you. If to be mentally tough, you have to be a great forgetter. So I love this quote right here. Andrew Luck. He said, he's a great forgetter. So there's physical toughness and there's mental toughness. And so unless you have Justin Smith or Bobby Boucher or Andrew Luck or somebody, and even if you do, you don't have many of them. So we got to figure out how to get our guys tougher. So that took me about 5 minutes. And now I got to roll. This is from Dr. Gilbert. This is James Councilman, I think his name is. This is an article from Time Magazine in 1963. And he put a sign up in the Indiana swimming pool area that you either are going to, if you want to be on the team, you got to hurt every day at practice. If you want to be all Big Ten, you have to make sure you're like, you go so hard that you're in pain. If you want to be an Olympic champion, you have to push yourself so hard you're in agony. So there is a history here. You know, there's something you can point to your team at about, like, tough people do win. So every time someone comes in your coach's office, especially if you're a head football coach, here are the 2 questions I used to ask every recruiter that came in. What's the number one way you guys developed relationships? And what's the number one way you guys develop toughness? You should ask everybody that comes in. That really should probably be number one. But you got to ask this, and you're going to get, and some of these answers are from these coaches. So here's how Rocky Smart is on here. I talked about him a second ago. Rocky's the head coach at Valley View High School in Texas. He helped me do this about a week ago. And this was Rocky's idea. Hey, you ought to do it daily, weekly, sort of yearly. So that's how I'm breaking this down. So we're going to talk about daily ways you can get your guys tougher. This is a Matt Rule thing. And here's what Matt Rule says is, if you open a warehouse and there's 1 million Pepsi cans, all those Pepsi cans are the same. It doesn't matter which can you grab. They're all going to taste the same. You know, and so that's what he's trying to strive for. That's what we're trying to strive for, is create that kind of toughness. It doesn't matter who it is, they're tough. So feel like I probably ought to move that slide down. That didn't feel real natural. Daily. So daily ways you have to, if you want your guys to be tough, and it's amazing. I had this picture, but you have to speak it into existence. You have to have and this is one that's going to trip people up. You have to have a daily team meeting of at least 5 minutes and talk about what you want your guys to be. Jimmy Johnson says in his book Swagger about the Pygmalion theory is speak it into existence. Tell them they're going to be tough. Show them what toughness is. And of course, use movie clips. So I would show this movie clip to my team and ask them,
Give me another ball. Take the drop, Roy.
Roy, just
Give me another ball.
so here's what you do with this movie clip. Ask your team, is this physical toughness or mental toughness? Well, it's mental toughness. Ask him, is he being mentally tough right now? What should he do? And so most of your guys don't understand golf, but he ought to take the drop. He's going to, and then most of these guys have never seen this before, but I think he hits 12 in the water. Not very mentally tough. Callbacks. The second way is callbacks. I wasn't big on this. I wished I would have been better at this, but you can have a callback for anything. When I got to go to Minnesota that time, Coach Flex using callbacks. So a callback, and I did this with our team some, but it just, but I should have done it more. And so, like for me, one of our definitions of toughness is toughness is a product of struggle. And so when you're in a team meeting situation, you could say toughness is the product of, and your whole team ought to say struggle, you know, so use callbacks. Third way, have them stand like this is, and this looks like, well, what is that? You know, not a big deal, but when they're really tired, for them to stand like this, we would start practice every day like this. These guys, I think this is a boot camp draft, and they're having to stand like that till they get drafted. But anyway, bottom line is be on the line, but don't touch it. Your heels have to be touching. Your hands are behind your back. Your right hand's over your left hand. Like they had to stand a certain way. I think that's part of toughness. I'm telling you guys, when I took over at North Forney in 2017, they were so undisciplined, and it just hit me. I'm going to make them stand like this. If I'm like, again, I'm never going to tell you something more true than this. It took a month for us to get this done. Like they just couldn't do it, you know. And when you have a kid run a quarter and then stand like this, this is a big one. Okay. And there's going to be a bunch of these in here, but we're going to have a daily competition. And so we had first period athletics, and you were not going to go shower until you defeated someone. And it was your ticket. And so here's some of these drills. This is called line touch. And I don't have a video of this one, but it's pretty self-explanatory. So the guy on the bottom is going to try to go 4 yards and touch the line in front of him. And the guy on top is going to try to keep him from doing it. And I think we gave him about 6 seconds. Like I say, but you know, what you want to do, I think, with your combatives is make it wrestling-like, but make it safe. So this is one of those that's really safe. A wrestling coach gave me this drill. You can pair your guys up and go. So line touch, go 4 yards. The other guy, try to keep him. Somebody's going to be a winner. Push-up wrestle. I got this from a coach in Arkansas. Got this video off of YouTube. I'm not sure where this school is. That looks like Ohio or something. But basically what we're doing here is we're going to be in a plank position. Well, we're going to be in a plank position. When the whistle blows, we're both going to do one push-up. And then each person is going to try to knock the hand out of the other person. So let's let it roll. So his elbow hit the ground, he's out. Never had an injury, right? Simple. Go shower. If you lose, find the pause button here. If you lose, you find somebody else that lost. And you have to defeat somebody. And we end up with about 3 guys. We would do rock, paper, scissors or something. But great drill. I think there's a one in here of a 2-on-1, or all 3 were going against each other. Maybe that is 2-on-1. Push-up wrestle. It's a good one. Peephole, got this from John Perry at Nixa, who's on here. Coach Perry and I are both going to grab a 45. And we're going to hold it up and we're going to look through it and we're going to look at each other until someone drops it. John, is there anything awesome I could be saying about this that I'm not?
No, it's pretty simple. Hard to do, but simple to do.
I just call it peephole. What do y'all call it?
That's what we call it.
Okay, good. And how long can 10 seconds? Pretty good?
Yeah, it ain't very long.
Okay. Love it. Number 7, y'all, this is sock wrestle. So basically we're tying socks on the right leg of this kid in blue and on the left leg of this kid in black. And they start out shoulder to shoulder. So your job on this is to protect your sock. And when I say protect your sock, you want to keep your sock leg as far away from him as you can while untying his sock. Again, my son did not play football. He wrestled. And so I know what real wrestling is. I know this is not real wrestling, but they're competing and they're touching each other. They're not virtual. You know, and what those guys, I'm going to talk about, those guys are competing to get into the elite locker room. So it's a big deal. Red ball. This is a cut ball that Gilman sells that's for D linemen and stuff like that nobody, honestly, I've never seen a D line coach use it before, but every D line coach I ever had wanted one. And we finally found a good use for it. And this is a good use for it. So this kid, again, these guys are trying to get into a locker room. And if you got to win 2 out of 3 of these. And so they're both trying to push it 5 yards against each other. Question mark shirt. I think this creates toughness. So when we start off season, or if you were in a state that it was summer, first day that we're gonna start our training stuff, we're gonna put them in a question mark shirt, and that means we don't know about you, and you have to earn another shirt. I believe T-shirts are a big deal, so put them in question mark shirts. It says because even this, and y'all know this, we've all had seniors who had good junior years, and they get a girlfriend, or they get a job, and so we put a question mark shirt on them, and it means, hey, everybody's going to earn everything here. And those guys that you just saw in that video they were trying to earn their way out of a question mark shirt. What do we do with the question mark shirt? We're going to put, like, this kid, these marks over here. Every day that this kid won a combative, he got a mark on his shirt. I believe it was you, Coach Smart, right, that said y'all put a winner and a loser column on the back of your shirts, and you'd mark winner and loser?
Yeah, like on the arm sleeve, we just put a W and an L, and we just make little tally marks underneath it, just to, try to persuade them to make sure that they're doing everything they can to win, because no kid wants to have a bunch of L tally marks on
Yeah, I love that
arm.
too. So mark it. But again, none of these drills y'all take very long. They're all drills usually you can pair kids up with. And so half of them are getting to go in. There's a coach how we did it was, man, you didn't go shower until you got a mark put on your shirt if you won. Because, those guys coming in first were winners. This is from Dr. Gilbert. This is one that you could, honestly, would be a homework assignment for your players. It's called the Ray Lewis Push-Up Challenge. Some of you guys may have heard of this, but here's how Ray Lewis swears he never really lifted weights. When he was 8 years old, he was with a single mom, and someone sort of beat up his mom. And he said, "Mom, will you get me a deck of cards?" And they were in a rough neighborhood in Miami. And she said, "I'm not going to have you gamble." And he said, "No, Mama, I'm not going to gamble. Just get me a deck of cards." And so what he started doing, he would flip over a card, and if it was a 7, he would do 7 push-ups. If it was a face card, he would do 10 push-ups. If it was an ace, he would do 25 push-ups. And so he's a young kid, right? And he's seen how many cards, he can do. He can do 5 cards, he can do 7 cards. And then as he got older and older, he got to where he could go through 2 decks. And I think this is a true story. He did that from the time he was, I'm throwing a number out there, 8 years old. It doesn't matter. I think the day he was drafted was the first day he missed, and then he started. But I think Dr. Gilbert tells this story that on draft day, he missed, and now that he started another streak. Big believer in this. This is a picture of our guys in Germany. We're going to celebrate people at the end of practice. So this was competition Tuesday. And so I'd be like, "Hey, D lineman, give me an O lineman who made you better today." But you could do it with toughness. And this guy number 67 back here is 35 years old. He might have been 36 when this picture was taken. And they all want to be recognized, right? So they still enjoy it. We would take a picture, we tweet it out. But you can see here, number 50, this guy right here standing up, like that running back's happy for him. So what you celebrate, you cultivate. Talk to your team about who was the toughest today. Lines of life. Well, this is a good one right here. Most of you guys have seen this, but we circled up in Potsdam and only did like really 1 or 2 at a time. But when I was at North Forney, we would use the whole freaking football field. Like we would have 8 going at a time, and we'd go every 10 yards. But you can see a kid going right here. basically all this is who can push the other one back. This is a short one, but it's not a bad one, you know, so you got to keep your hands inside. You got to stay in the middle. We're going to practice. This is how we're going to start practice. And I'm going to use terms like get your piss hot. Learned this one a long time ago. We call it Falcon Attack in North Forney. I'm going to be at Missouri, so I'm going to kind of target this like it's Missouri. I'm not sure. I'm going to try to get a film from North Forney doing this so I don't show another college. But this is an outstanding drill. Your freshmen who are not very physical will get physical. Your freshmen need to do this drill every day. Your varsity guys can do it during fall camp. You know, but here's what the drill is. There's a guy right here, and he's trying to go through 3 guys. So there's 3 guys going. I'm going to try to get where this guy's out of the way. Okay. So this guy right here is going to go through these 3 guys and touch a stand-up dummy. And the only person, number 31, can come back around here where he really has to go through 4, but there's no double teams. But basically what these guys are doing is shocking and shedding. It's more of a defensive drill. But your freshmen, here's what's going to happen to you. Here's what's happened to us. It's fall camp, and you know, our freshmen, we're trying to see if they can learn to play. And about a month into season, you know, we're realizing our freshmen aren't very physical. So we start doing this drill every day, and it helps big time. We didn't allow double teams, and we only let the first guy come to the back. Now, again, we don't get injuries with this because the collisions they're not running very far without a collision. So get in the middle of them, get him off of you. It's block destruction. And so, you know what, they've got him going through about 6 people. We just didn't do that. I'll show you one more. So 23 could come back and go again. He was the only one. 23 acts like he doesn't have any idea what's going on. Okay, those are daily drills. All right, let me stop right here. Does anybody have a suggestion where I can make this better? Now, y'all, this ain't gonna be any good if you don't talk to me. So
I think the flow's good. Like the one thing you said earlier about that Pepsi can or whatever it was,
yeah,
that was kind of out of place. I don't know where to tell you to put it, but it's kind of choppy there in the middle.
You know, at the end, I'm going to talk about branding it. I moved that to the end. That's probably where I ought to put the Pepsi cans. You know, if it's a true brand, then everybody,
right,
and maybe I just take it out. But
if you open a Tiger up every time, it's always like a Pepsi can. You're going to get the same characteristics, etc.
Yeah. Let me ask y'all this. Am I talking? Because I feel like with getting through 30 of these, I'm talking fast. Am I talking too fast?
I don't think so. I think it's good.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Good. Okay. All right. Well, basically you guys are all going to get the blame if this doesn't go well. So there's that. Basically, I'm like an administrator, and I'm not hiring a coach without a committee. So y'all are my committee. Okay, weekly. I believe this. I believe on game day, your players should not dress up like accountants, because we're going to go do some blue collar toughness work. And so this is a picture. I was watching the Big Ten Network about 10 years ago, and this is Michigan State took a team picture every year during fall camp where everybody wore a green Dickies work shirt. And it just was the mindset of we are going to be blue collar tough. And so I stole that and used it for our game day shirts on Fridays. So I think it's a mindset. And so instead of your guys wearing jerseys on Fridays, they can wear a Dickies. Now here's how I did it. It's a lot of trouble. I put on one of their white patches, their favorite core value. And another white patch I put, sorry, it wasn't their name. I got to remember exactly how we did it, but it's a little bit of trouble. But I think the Dickies work shirt's a good deal. Rick Jones said he did this at Greenwood. He said that when they got off the bus, it was pretty cool.
Would you think about putting like their number?
Yeah, and that might have been what we did just to make it a little bit more personal. But the
That's a
easiest
cool
thing, yeah, I mean, they loved it. The easiest thing to do really is not make it personal, and then they turn their shirts in every week, and then you just pass them back. It's easier to pass out the next week, but again, that's what kills you as a head coach is how much detail like this you do. But so weekly, the only issue I think I have with this presentation is some of these things are in season and some are out of season. So let me know if you think that that's messing with your brain. All right. But the work shirts. Something else that we did weekly was continuous 40s. And these are one of the toughest things that I think I had our guys do. And basically what that is if you're a skill guy, you're going to run a 40-yard dash. Let's say we got an orange cone on the 40-yard line. And I blow the whistle and you run a 40. Well, in 36 seconds, you got to be back to the starting line, and I'm going to blow the whistle again. If your alignment was about 40 seconds. So continuous 40, boom, I blow the whistle. You sprint your butt off. You can walk back to the starting line. You can jog back to the starting line. You just have to get back to that cone. And if you jog back, you got a little more rest. But it's a tough one. All y'all know about this, but I still think it's worth talking about. You ought to do 50-second runs. You ought to mark where they finish, and you ought to measure it. You ought to take their picture and tweet it. All this stuff, that's their love language is social media. But a gut 50, and we let guys go in if they make a certain time or a certain distance. If not, they have to run a whatever, a 20-second run or something. Going back to that slide where I said, ask coaches what they do what's the toughest thing they do. I was having dinner one night with a guy named, and I'll just say this for the Texas guys, Hal Wasson, who was the head coach at South Lake Carroll. And he said, "Oh, coach, this is easy. The toughest thing we do is 200s." And my first thought was, what? That can't be hard. It's all about a 400 for toughness. And well, then he explained to me how they did it. I believe this is the hardest thing I ever had our team do. And I think if you were to ask any player of mine, the last 10 years I coached, they would say 200s and then boot camp. And so this is pretty simple to explain. Again, we're going to go back to our t-shirt. So the first day you do this, have them run a 200 and mark it on their shirt. And so this kid in blue is playing at Northern Illinois. He ran a 24. And so good deal. Thank you. His name was Nemo. Great job, Nemo. And then probably 2 days later, whenever we do it again, he's got to run the first one. He's got to run a 27. So we pair them, we group them into 23s and 24s, whatever it is. We try to group them. If you ran a 24, get up here. And so, all right, guys, y'all have to run a 27. Now, here's what makes it hard. You get a 3-minute rest. So as soon as they run, they start walking back across the track. Okay, the second one, they get to run a 28. And then I'm telling you guys, 3 minutes just goes by so fast. And the last one, they have to run a 26. And it's really hard. Jesus is running beside them. So here's what Coach Watt, I said, Coach, how long do y'all do this? He says, when everybody makes their last time, when everybody makes their times for the day. So when Nemo runs a 27, a 28, and a 26, he made his time. So whenever everybody on our team makes their time, we quit doing them. And there will be arguments in the locker room. Hey, man, I need you to make your time. This is a butt kicker. If you want more information about this, let me know, because it is, again, I felt good about my teams running these 200s. And I'll tell you something else to make them tough. And I forgot to put this in here, but when I wrote my first book, I interviewed Jerry Kill, who was the head coach at Minnesota. He's now at New Mexico State. And I asked him about toughness. And he said, here's what we did at Minnesota. If somebody was absent or injured, somebody had to run for them. So I started doing that. So when these guys see these are different color question mark shirts, when you drafted your squadron, you better draft people that are going to be here, because somebody's going to run this 200 for them. They wouldn't run all three of them, right? But they would have to run extra.
Hey, Coach Jackson,
Yes, sir, Kyle.
if one kid made his time, but the rest of the group didn't, he still had to keep running them every day until everybody in the group did?
Oh, yeah, great question. Yes, everybody's running them until, and when I say everybody, it's the guys that your paycheck's in their mouth. So we tell our team, when everybody makes it the same day, we're going to quit. But we don't really mean like guys like me who were just there for the chicken fry, you know. But yeah, that's a good question. It all has to be on the same day.
Gotcha.
And, you know, it's going to take about 8 times, and you want it to take about 8 times. And so really we did this about twice a week. But it is my first day at North Forney, the first day on the job, I had them run a 200 for time. And then I let them rest a long time. And then I had them do this. And it's in my second book, y'all. 13 kids threw up. Like, I'd never seen anything like it, you know, but they were throwing up after the second 200, but still, it is excellent. Like, they're going to get tough. All right. I started doing this in Potsdam. I want you to watch video and send me a highlight. I want you to submit a tough highlight play. So what we're practicing on Monday. We're gonna, you know, I'm gonna give a Whataburger to the guy who has the #1 play of toughness from the day before. So my guys, I guess, were a little too, they didn't really get into it too much. The game one they liked a little better, but have your players submit, hey, here's a play I think I was pretty tough. It can be physical toughness or mental toughness. You know, your quarterback could throw an interception and the next play he throws a touchdown. And so, but have them submit a play from practice and game of, hey, here's me being tough. Most of you guys have seen General McRaven's commencement speech to the University of Texas, and I was going to show the clip of it, and I felt like I probably would run out of time. So, but basically what he says in this speech was, if you're in Hell Week, you're going to get sugar cookied. And sugar cookied means no matter what you did, if everything was perfect, they're going to still say it's not, and you're going to run into the water and then roll around in the sand, and it's hell. And so I think you have to sugar cookie your players every now and then. And I would tell them about this. I would tell them, guys, I'm going to sugar cookie you every now and then. And of course, show them the video, right? You always got to show them videos. But here's one way I would sugar cookie them is, this is Jim Thorpe in 1912. And Jim Thorpe wakes up one morning and he's got it like 2 or 3 events, and someone stole his shoes. And so he looks in a dumpster and finds 2 shoes. They're different sizes, and he wins 2 gold medals that day. So what I started doing was just every now and then, make guys wear different shoes. And so I don't know if you can see this guy, y'all, in the white t-shirt, but that's a left shoe on his right foot. And so this guy's wearing 2 left shoes, and they're different sizes. And so make them go through the
Coach,
yes, sir.
Coach, did they like have to get them from their teammates, or was this something that they came to school with?
No, they got them from their teammates. Good question. So I would just put the shoes in a pile and I say, I want you to grab somebody. Hey, I want all the right shoes in a pile. Okay, grab somebody else's, make sure you can sort of wear it. But yeah, they were different sizes and we had hard days. I mean, these weren't, we weren't playing dodgeball. And so I
So
thought it was
they
pretty
worked
good.
out the whole day in those two different shoes.
Correct.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And that kid in white is wearing a left shoe on his right foot, and he went through a hard workout. This is a day we're not running 200s, but we're on the turf and we're doing agility drills. And again, we're grinding their corn.
This cow's right here.
So you can just see and if you do this, you can see this red and black shoe, golly, that looks too big and it's on the wrong foot. And they'll be proud. And they'll make it through the workout. Someone told me this one time, whenever you do jump rope stations and you have 10 jump ropes out there, make one jump rope too short. And so somebody's got to grab the short jump rope, and they don't know they don't know. And you tell them, it's just like when you get a bad call. Sometimes you just get the short rope, deal with it. Things we would do once a year. Let me just stop here. Suggestions, comments, improvements.
Those last few things were things y'all would do weekly. Is that what it was?
Yeah, and I probably ought to move this one to yearly. I didn't do it. This is monthly. That's why I need to add a monthly one. Because this is weekly.
Yeah.
So I probably need to add a monthly, because this is probably more monthly. Maybe, but so once a year, we're going to end our summer workouts with 50/40s. And I think it's a big deal. We're a performance course school. If you guys in Texas know, that's where we got it from. And it's funny, man, the leader of the performance course, Gino Pierce, his high school head coach was Rick Jones. So, I think it's sort of like Kevin Bacon, it all comes back to Rick Jones. But 50/40 is a great way to end the summer workout. And Gino told me this, if you multiply 50 yards times 40, I think it ends up being less than a mile. So it sounds like something that is but it's really not. But the guys are encouraging each other. Your coaches need to be out there, and your coaches don't need to be on their phones. They need to be, making sure they're going hard. And but 50/40s, I think, is a great one. This is stuff that I get into that I think is a little different. But I even did this with the Royals. This is called a picture quote. So if you want your team to be tough, you got to talk about tough. And so I would say, hey, we're going to have a picture quote contest. Send me the best picture quote you can find on toughness. And then you show the top 5 to the team in your meetings, and you give the winner a Whataburger or something. All you guys know me, that I'm a huge believer in movie clips. So find a movie clip, have a movie clip contest. These guys all know how to do movie clips and copy them and paste them and stuff. So have your guys find a movie clip and tell them you'll use some of those movie clips in your team meetings. I think this is a good one. When I was at Grapevine High School, I asked our starting quarterback one time, who I didn't think was the toughest kid I ever coached, to make me a highlight video of him looking down the gun barrel and taking a shot. And so I just said, hey, man, I want you to give me 5 plays where you're looking down the gun barrel and you're taking a shot. And he couldn't do it. And so I think that's a good thing to do with all your team is, hey, I want you to give me 5 plays. And it can be mental or physical. Kind of goes back to those gameplay submission, but a 5-play highlight video.
Coach, so you make all your practice and game videos available to your team?
Yeah, they're all in huddle. Yes.
They're all, so everything, practice, everything.
For sure.
Okay.
Yep. because we want them watching it. And this one is really cool. I don't know if I'll say, excuse me, I don't know if I'll say this one Friday where I got it from, because it's Matt Rule. So Matt Rule spoke at North Forney High School when I was on the board of directors, and I asked him to speak on toughness, and man, did he bring it. And he's the one that talks about the Pepsi cans and all that. But here's what's great. He started this at Temple. The guys are going to vote, and I don't know when they do it, maybe the end of spring or something, but who are the 10 toughest guys on the team? And the top 10 guys are going to get to wear single digit numbers. And we all know that single digit numbers are like the most sought after thing ever. And Chris Yeager, who is a mastermind guy, and Chris Yeager is a genius, so you ought to be listening to anything in the vault on Chris Yeager. But he started doing this, and he lets the linemen wear single digits at practice if they get voted one of the 10 toughest. So his right guard might be wearing number 4 at practice. I think it's cool. Another step to this is UTSA. Again, I probably won't say this Friday, but UTSA, their area code is 210. And so the head coach at UTSA, Jeff Traylor, is good friends with Matt Rule. And Matt Rule said, hey, what you ought to do is the number 1 vote getter ought to be number 2. So let me just say this without confusing you guys. At Missouri, the number 1 vote getter would be number 5. And the number 2 vote getter would be number 7. And, because everybody's talking about their area code. So if you wanted to use an area code thing or whatever, that'd be, because what's neat is next year when I watch a Nebraska football game, I'm going to know who those guys think are the 10 toughest. And I'll Google Lincoln, Nebraska area code, and I'll be able to figure out who the toughest guy on the team is. I think that's really cool. Boot camp. I think this is a little tough one, y'all. And if you tell me to take this one out, because what I want y'all to tell me, I know in Missouri, they don't have an athletic period like most people don't. But can you do this in the summer or not? I don't know. But here, I believe this. You got to make people be uncomfortable. You got to make kids hurry. Do this drill. Do this drill, and you're going to laugh. Have them take their shoes off. I did this at North Forney when I got mad one day. I want everybody to take your shoes off. And they all took their shoes off. And then I said, I want you to put your shoes back on. How long do you think it took them? It took forever. And so then I said, okay, guys, I'm going to time you on putting your shoes back on. And if you're last, you owe me some up downs or something. They were way faster. But no one moves fast unless they're made to move fast or they're conditioned to move fast. So we want our guys to move fast. So we have about a 3-week boot camp. Again, I'm not sure if I only had a summer how I would do this, but I guarantee you if I only had a summer, I'd do a 1-week boot camp. And one of the deals of the boot camp would be, and even if they showed up dressed, I would figure out a way for them to have to do this. So they had 60 seconds, and I'd send them in by squadrons, 60 seconds to get dressed. And guys, they are hurrying, and they had to get dressed and stand at attention in front of their locker, and their locker had to be perfect. I think this is a part of toughness. One other thing we did in boot camp was we made them wear a jock. Now, this is one of those, if y'all tell me to take this out, I'll find another one to get to 30. But why do we make them wear a jock? Because nobody wears a jock anymore. Like, it's hard to find them. They would say, Coach, why do we have to wear a jock? And I'd say, because it's boot camp. This is command weights. So remember the definition of mental toughness is how fast can you get over a mistake. So these weights right here, y'all, are, and this kid right here in the white is playing at SBU, Southwest Baptist in Missouri. And he graduated from boot camp, and so now he's getting to lead the station. And if you ever want a kid to really become awesome, let him start coaching like this. And so number 4 has a partner, and number 4's partner has a bar. And so this is all on whistles, but number 4 must body count exactly right. His right toe has to be on a piece of tape. His right hand should be, I think, on top of his left hand. Whatever, their hands have to be exactly right. Their chest have to touch their hand when they body count. So I don't know if y'all can hear or not, but when somebody made a mistake, they had to wipe it off, which means, you know, some of that mental game stuff. But you can hear these guys saying 9, sir, 10, sir. They're learning how to say sir. Again, I think this all comes back. I'll just play it one more time to mental toughness. So these guys would, every coach, every station, y'all, every squadron had a clipboard. And so if number 4 made a mistake, and let's say his name was Perry, mistake, and then somebody'd mark it. But if a bunch of guys made a mistake, we'd make a team mistake. So bottom line is, I might not have enough time to really describe this, but I think it's important. And then number 30 is, you have to make tough your brand. So we had core values. One of them was blue collar toughness. All our guys had to know our core values. We're going to punch the clock every day and do the dirty work. We are comfortable being uncomfortable. So you got to make it your brand. None of the, all this right here from other schools. So I started using TPW in 2004 with a team that was not very fast. So I knew we had to be tough. And so I just started using TPW, and it's taken off. So find something and make it your brand and sell it. And John, I hope this brings a smile to your face. But, you know, John was like, he dropped a pin on Google Maps and it says Tough Mississippi. And now there's a pin in Nixa that says Tough Missouri. But that's a poster I created at North Forney. Hey, that's pretty cool, y'all. And I stole it, and I won't say this Friday, but I stole it from Alabama. You know, all you got to do is Google stuff like this. And man, brand it, because that's, you can brand, if you can't brainwash a 16-year-old, you're in the wrong business. But you can brand it if you do it every day. Callbacks, you know, you got to have meetings about it. Like we started calling ourselves goons at North Forney. And they had that, so you can see that I can't remember what those bumper stickers or something they're called. And well, you know, he had to earn that one that said goon. So I'm going to close with this. Toughness is being able to withstand body blows. And if you want your team to withstand body blows, then you either got to go recruit a bunch of Justin Smiths or Bobby Bouchers, or you have to make them tougher. Like you have to find ways to make them tougher physically and mentally. This is a clip you should show. This is only the last part of it. This is the greatest round in boxing history, Gotti versus Ward.
Gotti doesn't even have the strength to tie Ward up.
So in this one round, the announcers thought Gotti was done, and the announcers thought Ward. They both kind of thought the fight was over in both different ones.
This should be a round of the century.
So if you want your team tough, you got to make them do tough things. So thanks for listening. Now,
If you're are you on the sound with that boxing clip? Because it was real chopped on mine. I couldn't hear it.
now that's what I needed to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if
want
anybody else
sound.
had that.
Did everybody else have a hard time hearing it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you couldn't hear it.
Okay. Yeah. They call it the round of the century and stuff at the end of it. And so, is there let me just start with this, y'all. Does anybody have a tactic that is really good to help create toughness that you think I could add? I mean, I'm right at 50 minutes. Was I talking so fast that was annoying, or was I okay?
No, I think you were talking good, Randy.
Okay, thanks. Did anything, I think the two things, y'all, the 200s, the elite locker room, what else was I trying to describe?
Coach, the 200 explanation might possibly try to be clarified a little
That's
more.
what
There's
okay.
a little, because like the 20, my understanding is the 24 that you wrote, that's what they made their first time ever, 24
Yep.
seconds. And then on top, whatever number they get, they have to add 3 or whatever.
Yeah, and we just add,
Okay.
that's their time, that's their times.
Mhm.
Y'all on command weights, is that too hard for me to explain in 30 seconds? Should I even not try, or was that okay?
That clip was
Man.
rough also.
Was
Is
it?
the only problem. You can't hear the sound real well, and it's so quick. Either the clip needs to be a little bit longer so we can hear more of the conversation, or maybe find a cleaner clip.
And this will be
Hey,
in person, so it might be better not on Zoom. But
hey, Randy, man, I came to Grapevine just to watch the boot camp, and I don't, man, you wait, you know a lot more than I do, but man, that boot camp is a whole animal in itself. And I think you just give the highlights of it and then say, if you want to know more information about it, then contact me.
okay, so you think I ought to maybe explain boot camp a little more about how we keep up with mistakes and stuff like that?
I think the big picture of it,
Okay.
because there's so many stations and every station is unique,
Yeah, and every station is about mental toughness. And
Mhm. Maybe just outline the stations, but you can't go into detail like.
yeah, it could be its own. But did y'all did the highlight video, like I didn't feel great when I was talking about a practice highlight video of toughness or a game highlight video of toughness. It probably made sense, but does anybody like that one? Is it worth keeping in?
I didn't like it as much as your clips that you get the players to give you. That popped out,
The
the movie clips or the posters.
yeah. Okay. Well, anybody else, y'all? Coach me. I want to be coached.
I wish I could be there, man. That's going to be a good one.
Yeah, Kevin Kelly's going to be there talking about analytics. Talk about, I mean, I do think this, like I told Perry this, he's going to go speak in Georgia. Like everybody's at a clinic to get the edge. And I think if you can find 5 things from this toughness thing, like that's an edge. And analytics are the edge. I'm not against RPOs, but our RPOs are not the edge. I mean,
Coach, I think that like what you did at Potsdam, where the guys had to elect who could be join the elite and sign that poster.
yeah.
And I think something like that also, because would make them, that's an example of the mental toughness and stuff too. And the responsibility that, hey, you're only electing this many, or whatever. So you better make them count.
So you're
Just a
talking about
thought.
maybe add the players' creed?
Yeah. I mean, Rusty may be able to Am I on the right track? That you can, do you remember that, Rusty, from the other night?
Dr. Gilbert, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
All right, give me something that's not in there that needs to be in there.
Well, I just got on about 2 minutes ago.
Oh, dang it. You got a
But,
faculty.
but I got something for you.
Okay.
I don't think what you say is important. It's how much you believe what you say. So if you say, put up a poster on the wall and have everybody sign, if you really, really come across that you totally believe it, that's the whole secret.
Got it.
They have to believe that you believe.
Love it. Well, they're going to believe that I believe in all this stuff. Here's what the mistake that I usually make. I want to tell them about 30 things and I have time for 20. And so I want to make sure I don't screw that up. So I really do want to know, y'all, if you don't want to say it right now, or if you think about it, if there's something in there you think I should take out, email me. Like, Coach, this wasn't that big a deal. I would love to know, because Dr. Gilbert gave me 6 things today, and I think I put 2 of them in there, so I can always switch some stuff out, and maybe 30 is too many, I just know the more I give them, the more likely they're going to get 5. I know if I give them 10, most people aren't going to get 5. So trying to give them a bunch. But any other thing, y'all? Closing comment, help. You love me, you'll coach me. Nothing. Well,
Coach, like I said, I think the thing to make sure is that daily, weekly, monthly, because you had some great ones there, so that they don't get lost in the between the weekly and the yearly.
yeah. Okay. Thank you. Well, thanks, y'all. I mean, how much fun did I just have? I just got to practice in front of about 20 guys and got feedback. So thank you. And email me if you got something you can make me better. Y'all have a great, I'll see you. Hey guys, be with me at 7:00 tonight. Rick Jones. And he's amazing. He's fixing to talk about systems, and it's going to help you. I'll guarantee you. I'll see you guys tonight.